Right now, beneath your ribs, there is a red engine that has been running from the very beginning, the heart. It has carried you through every plan, every disappointment, and every moment when you forced yourself to keep going. But when you feel stuck again, you question your choices, your discipline, your mindset, almost everything except the heart. So you make another plan. You push harder. Yet every disappointment has taught your system to protect itself. Before hope can rise, the chest tightens. Before change can arrive, the body braces. Before life has a chance to answer, part of you is already preparing to be hurt again. The mind says, "I'm ready." But beneath the words, the heart is still asking, "Is it safe?" This is how you can want a new future and resist it at the same time. Not because the heart is working against you, but because it is trying to protect you with instructions written by the past. Your thoughts reach forward, while your body pulls you back toward what feels familiar. Manifestation may not begin with a perfect thought. It may begin when the heart no longer treats the future as a threat, when thought, emotion, body, and action finally begin moving in the same direction. The switch is not somewhere outside you. It may be hidden in the rhythm beneath your ribs, the one you never thought to listen to. This is Momentum Arc, a space for inner exploration and spiritual growth. Your likes, comments, subscriptions, and super thanks support this work. They also help this conversation reach someone who is trying to think their way into a future their body is still afraid to enter. Dr. Sue Morter is a teacher and practitioner whose work brings together breathwork, body awareness, movement, meditation, and energy-based healing. She has described a profound meditation experience that changed the direction of her life. Her sense of separation seemed to fall away, and awareness seemed to move through the whole body. That experience left her with a question. Could people move beyond the protective identity created by fear? Could they reconnect with life through the body, rather than trying to solve everything through thought? Her 2019 book, The Energy Codes, grew from that search. It presents a 7-step system shaped by practices she developed over decades, and it asks one central question. If manifestation means bringing an inner possibility into lived reality, what actually allows that process to happen? Morter's answer is that thought alone is not enough. You may repeat an intention while the body remains tense. You may imagine love while bracing for rejection. The words point one way, but the rest of you is moving somewhere else. This is where her work turns our attention away from thought alone and back toward embodiment. For our purposes, the heart becomes a vivid doorway into that shift. It is first a living organ, but it is also where many of us feel fear, care, grief, courage, and connection most immediately. The heart produces measurable electrical activity and remains in constant communication with the brain and nervous system. Morter's work gives embodiment a larger spiritual meaning, but the useful point does not depend on exaggerating the science. Your inner state changes your breathing, posture, voice, attention, and choices. Seen this way, manifestation becomes the process of bringing thought, emotion, breath, behavior, and identity into a more coherent relationship. You are no longer trying to command life from the neck up. The heart has its own rhythm. It responds to the nervous system, hormones, movement, breathing, and emotion. It also contains an intricate network of nerve cells known as the intrinsic cardiac nervous system, which helps regulate the exchange between heart and brain. That does not mean the heart thinks the way the brain thinks. It means the body is not a silent machine waiting for instructions from the head. Signals from the heart help shape arousal, attention, and emotional experience. You have probably felt this without knowing the biology. Before you can explain why a conversation feels unsafe, your chest tightens. Before you admit that a decision is wrong for you, your breathing becomes shallow. Before the mind produces a reason, the body has already registered countless small details. We often call this intuition. It does not have to mean supernatural prediction. Sometimes it is the body recognizing a pattern faster than conscious thought can name it. The feeling may not always be correct, but it is worth noticing. Older traditions gave the heart this importance long before modern physiology described heart-brain communication. Yogic traditions link the heart center with love and healing. Classical Chinese thought ties the heart-mind to awareness and feeling. Their languages differ, but they share a warning. A person can become brilliant at explaining life and still lose contact with how life feels. Modern life rewards speed, analysis, and control. We learn to override fatigue, dismiss grief, rationalize desire, and keep moving. After enough years, the mind becomes the manager of everything. But the ability to feel was never lost. Pause before reacting. Let a feeling move through you. Listen to what the body is signaling. This is the sovereignty Morter's work is trying to restore. Not control over every event, but the ability to stop handing every decision to fear or outside approval. Manifestation is often described as attraction. You hold a thought, raise your energy, and draw a matching result toward you. Morter's emphasis on embodiment gives us a more grounded way to read that claim. What returns to you is shaped, in part, by the state from which you meet the world. Enter a room expecting rejection, and your body changes. Your shoulders narrow, your voice shifts. You listen for danger instead of possibility. Enter with a steadier breath, and the room may not change, but your timing, attention, and presence do. This is a practical way to understand resonance. Your inner state appears in facial expression, pace, tone, decisions, and the risks you are willing to take. It shapes what you notice and what others sense in your presence. The heart's rhythm is part of this pattern. Under stress, the interval between beats can become more irregular. With slow breathing and a growing sense of safety, heart rhythm and breathing can become more coordinated. Some teachers call this heart-brain coherence. The term can sound grand, but the lived experience is familiar. The breath becomes easier. Thought is less scattered. Emotion is still present, but it no longer takes over the whole field. This does not guarantee luck, perfect health, or a specific outcome. It changes the condition from which you respond. A life is not created by intention alone. It is created when intention becomes attention, conversation, timing, restraint, courage, and action. Breath is one of the bridges Morter's work uses to bring awareness back into the body. Conscious breathing draws attention out of repetitive thought and into direct sensation. With each inhale, you notice where you are holding. With each longer exhale, you give the nervous system a little less to fight. You are not broadcasting a magical signal into space. You are becoming less divided inside yourself. The Energy Codes is not simply a book about getting what you want. Its deeper concern is identity. Who is asking for the new life? Is it the frightened self trying to escape its past, or a grounded self that can remain present while life changes? Morter calls one part of this shift the quantum flip, a movement away from the protective personality organized around fear and a return to what she calls the soulful self. The language is spiritual, but the inner movement is recognizable. One version says, "I am not enough, so I must prove and protect." Another says, "I can stay here. I can feel what is happening. I can choose without using fear as my only source of information." This is more than replacing one thought with another. A sentence such as, "I am enough," has little force when the body is still preparing for humiliation. The shift becomes real when the breath softens, the chest opens, and your next action no longer repeats the old defense. Manifestation, then, is not something you think into existence. It is something you begin to live before the result is visible. The life you want first appears as a different way of standing inside the life you already have. This is why the heart can function as a switch in the way we are using Morter's framework here. The red engine is not only keeping you alive, it marks the point where an idea becomes felt enough to influence the whole system. Thought, feeling, breath, and action begin to agree. Opportunities may arrive because you can finally recognize and answer them, then remain present long enough to receive what follows. The switch is not a promise of control. It is the end of living in constant contradiction. If the heart is to become more than a beautiful idea, it has to enter ordinary life. Here are 4 simple ways to begin translating Morter's emphasis on embodiment into daily experience. None requires a dramatic state. Each one asks the same thing: bring the body into the conversation. Begin with embodied breathing. Set aside 3 quiet minutes. Place a hand over the center of your chest and let the breath slow without forcing it. Feel the movement of the breath through the body. Then recall a genuine moment of gratitude, care, or quiet appreciation. Do not strain to feel love. Choose something small enough to be real. The warmth of a cup, a person who once showed you kindness, or the fact that your heart has carried you through another day. Next, bring intention together with feeling. Do not repeat a wish only as a distant idea. Imagine one ordinary moment that would exist if the wish were already part of your life. Reading an acceptance message, sharing good news, or waking without the weight that has followed you. Keep the scene simple and notice how the body responds. Does the chest soften, or does it tighten? The exercise reveals where desire and protection still pull against each other. Then notice the source of a choice. When anxiety rises, ask, is this decision coming from fear or from trust? Place a hand on your chest, breathe slowly, and ask again. The first answer may be habit. The second may be quieter, but more honest. Finally, join action with surrender. Choose one small act that belongs to the life you say you want. Send the message. Make the appointment. Open the document. Take the walk. Then release the demand that this one action must control the outcome. Your responsibility is the direction and the next honest step. Practiced together, these 4 movements create a more heart-centered rhythm. You breathe until you can feel yourself. You let desire become embodied. You distinguish fear from guidance. Then you act without demanding that reality obey on schedule. Manifestation begins to feel less like pursuit. It becomes a way of meeting life with less division. So we return to the question at the beginning. Are you willing to trust the heart that kept beating through every plan and every disappointment? It was there through every attempt to become someone stronger. This is not a search for something missing. It is a reconnection with something that never left. The heart did not lose the rhythm. You lost the habit of listening. The mind can design a future, but it cannot carry you there while the body is still bracing for the past. A life cannot be built entirely through control. At some point, you have to feel where you are. Notice what contracts you. Notice what opens you. Listen to what your body has been saying beneath all the explanations. Each conscious breath is a small return. Each emotion you allow without judging it makes the inner signal easier to hear. Each action taken from a steadier place teaches the body that change does not require self-abandonment. The heart is not your weakness. It is also not a supernatural machine that delivers whatever the mind requests. It is the living center of a system that remembers rhythm, relationship, and response. The outer life still asks for effort. It still contains uncertainty, delay, loss, and other people's choices. But when more of you is present, what can be built begins to change. Perhaps this is the most honest meaning of manifestation. You are not standing outside life trying to make the universe obey. You are becoming available to the life that wants to move through you, one breath and one choice at a time. Place your hand over your chest for a moment. Beneath the noise, the red engine is still there. It has been carrying you all along. Now, perhaps, it can help lead you home.